Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Automotive Drama. I don't know if you saw the previous video on how I took that alternator out of this Mercedes GLA 250 turbo, little turbo crapper, leaking coolant and oil everywhere like they do. But anyways, back to the point. If you see that bolt right up there, can you see it? That is the alternator bolt on the top. Now that one's fun. The belt's in the way unless you want to take it all off and take the bracket and all that off on top, blah blah blah. I didn't want to do all that, so when I put it in, there's a slide in the bottom, of course, of the alternator right on this side. I made sure I pounded the slide in so it fit in, and then what I did is I tightened up the alternator to where it had a little bit of snug on that slide, where it was just a little bit movable. And I took my fingers and a pry bar and I lined it up and kept wiggling it until I had enough room where I felt like there was enough threads, and then I locked the alternator down on that bolt. And yes, you are going to finger fuck it. There's just no way around it. Now, how I got it loose, if I can get the light to work. That bolt up there, it's really hard to see. But how I got, there we go, that bolt right there. How I actually got it out, believe it or not, it's a torque. What size is that torque? 12? E12? Yeah, E12. And I used a pry bar and got behind it and got it wedged up in there. And then I wedged this wrench on the edge of it, kind of like this, and made a lever where I could actually tink, and I cracked it loose. When I worked it with this a little bit, thank God it came loose. I feel sorry for you guys up north. I worked it with that a little bit. And then, after all that was said and done, it could only go so far coming out. And then I brought out the 10mm wrench. And yes, going the same way. Getting it started is a little bit more tricky. I showed you how you have to use the wedge on the alternator and get it kind of where you want it, and you got to kind of finger feel it. And then that's the easiest way to do it without having to take all this other crap apart. And this thing's almost 10 years old. I definitely don't want to touch any of this plastic if at all possible. And of course there's the alternator wire on the back. And make sure you plug in the alternator wire before you put the AC compressor on, because you got to get that up there. To get that plug off, you're taking the AC line out. Plain and simple. There's no way around it. I tried, and I wasn't going to break anything, so I moved the AC line, and I was not easily, but able to get it out. And make sure you definitely get them plugged in. I showed you how these little clips work. They're really a pain in the ass, but let's see, it's pushed in right now, but you get it pushed out like that. It just popped out, and then you squeeze it, and it'll clip, and that's just how they are. They're a bitch. So once you get the AC out of the way, it's really easy to get it unplugged. And I did test it. I'll show you how the voltage works at a later date. Anyways, again, thanks for tuning in. Likes are nice, subscribes are better. And stay tuned for more episodes. Have a good night.